Welcome to Channel Make, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrate to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Now, Merry Christmas. It's going to be a Christmas Eve, and Happy Christmas for everyone and anyone around the world watching this channel. Thanks for all the support for all the years. Now, obviously, we are at the end of 2022. We only got about a week to go, and then we're going to celebrate for the upcoming year of 2023. So as you have clicked into this video, obviously you would like to know about the trend and my predictions. Now, I cannot say that my prediction will be 100% correct or accurate, but through our experiences over the past 20 years, there is some sort of trend that I can foresee and I could actually predict, and that's exactly a lot of people wanting to know. I've received a lot of comments over the past weeks asking about how would the skill migration criteria requirement gonna be like in 2023. So in this video we're gonna discuss that, and also we will review a little bit about the recommendations that we have seen through numbers of different institutions, large institutions. They have put forward their recommendation to the Department of Home Affairs, how they could potentially improve the Australian visa system. And also we're looking into the invitation round, do some calculations, shall we, and how that will actually affect in the future. So let's go, and by the end of this video, or second half of this video, I'll go through my prediction and I'll just talk through. So more than welcome to have a listen, have a watch, and if you have some thoughts, perhaps you can leave a comment right down below. So all right, let's have a look. The first thing is that the skill select system, which is the most commonly accessed website that everybody want to watch for. Now, this web page hasn't really been actively been reviewed for past 2 years with the former government, because the former government really reluctant to utilize the skill independent visa subclass 189. Now, if you have been following my channel long enough, you may notice that the former government, the Liberal government, had actually decreased the annual quota from previously was around 190,000 and dropped it down to 160,000, and caused a lot of problem, a lot of backlog, a lot of complaint. I've seen a lot, and also I've been a lot of these are actually my client. I've gone through with them struggles, all the kind of stuff going on through 2018 up to 2022. There's a lot of massive issues, and obviously there was a pandemic went on. So anyway, should that be a reason for the former government to say, well, that wasn't us, that's due to the pandemic? I don't think so. But anyway, we have the new government now, or not new, they've been there for a while, at least 6 months or now, and it seems to be they are really putting hands into fixing the system. So great, we coming back 2 years later, we actually seen what's actually kick in, what's happening with subclass 189. So what had happened on December 8th, I believe a lot of people, if you've been following my channel long enough, you may notice there has been a rain down, not just rain, this is a storm, man. 35,000. I have never seen this kind of number popping out from this web page. Never. 35,000. I'm not talking about this 35,000 and back in December 8th, but if we look back, if we go down to the previous two rounds, shall we? So in October there was around 11,714, and if we go to the August one, which these 3 rounds were basically done by the current Labour government. There was 12,200. So altogether, there's more than what? Let's do a little bit of a calculation. Plus the 35,000. That's almost 60,000. There's 50 something thousand, almost 60,000 invites through 189 visa. If we scroll back up here, the most recent one is 35,000, almost 60,000. Now that is not normal. It's definitely not normal. But I can tell you, if we go back to what they have announced back in October on the migration planning level, now that is way exceeding what they expected and what they plan to do. So in the skill independent sector, which is the 189 visa, they were only allocated to 32,100 placements. Now what we have just seen through from August, October and December, that's almost 60,000. That's almost double of what they plan to do, if you can see here. Now how they have done so, obviously they have extracted numbers of quotas of placements from the business innovation investment and global talent, but I suspect that's all the numbers because we extract that. Moving over here, it's not even enough yet. Okay, so I suspect there's a lot of regional and state territory nomination, and even the employment sponsor placement has been put into skill independent, and I believe they're gonna do more. And they're gonna do more. Why do I say that? Because currently I don't feel through the industry. I mean, all the migration friends and in this industry, I don't think that the state government and territory government has actually invited us as many as what they had been given with the numbers that they're supposed to be doing. And throughout the employment sponsor, look, in the past 2 or 4 years, the whole system has been ruined because of all the red tapes, a lot of refusals. An employer is tired of going through, putting out 3 ads, sponsoring people, waiting for years. My recent 186 visa application took almost 9 to 10 months for it to be finalized. I mean, that is a bit. How would that kind of processing time help the skill shortage and the economy of Australia? Never. It's not going to happen. Anyway, and also in the past few years, I mean, not few, perhaps almost 6 years, should I say, the evolution of the state nomination and criteria has gone way beyond too complex. Let's just take an example of how Tasmania is dealing with. They got this gold, green, orange criteria, and they got 3 different pathways. It's way too complex. The selection criteria is way too complex, and if it's gonna be complex, can you imagine how the processing time will actually be affected by the state criteria as well? So what happened, what I have actually seen is the federal government, the Department of Home Affairs, is taking back all these control and utilizing the advantage of subclass 189 and throwing massive amount of invitation. And that way really is the way to actually solve the backlog, first of all, and also solve the skill shortage issue. So what I can foresee, that will be the trend. It will definitely be the trend of 2023 until the economy is back, until the skill shortage has been resolved, which I don't think in the short term that will be the issue because of the global climates. I mean the economic climates is not going too well. We're looking into US, Europe. The war is still going on, although it seems to be ceasing all the fire and almost at the end. And also the recent issue with China, the COVID-19 thing of going outbreak, the Omicron outbreak, way out of control. The powerhouse or manufacturing powerhouse in China has been, technically been shut down. And how would that actually affect the world? Affect Australia, will also affect the economy, and that will indirectly affect the policy that they're going to implement for 2023. So we also in the past videos, I mean 2 or 3 days ago, there has been a lot of recommendation being put on a report, which are the recommendation of major institutions. This is KPMG. I'm gonna go through the whole detail, and there has been other institutions. This is Grattan Institution and also the University of Australia. They have all lobby and submitted their migration recommendation to the Department of Home Affairs. So what would that do, and what do they recommend? I've done a video in my past couple days ago. You can check that out. And how they actually recommended mostly is to, first of all, increase the annual intake. So 195,000 might not be enough, and I agree with that, because before they held the Job and Skills Summit, I said that it will be more sufficient if the number is going more than 200,000. So 195. See what's happening now. If we go back to the migration planning page with the 195,000, we move that a little bit over, so we see that it's 195 down here. And is it enough? I don't think it's enough. Why? Because what we have foreseen in the invitation round, obviously they have overused. I mean, in December alone, 35,000, that is already exceeding what they plan to do with 32,100. I mean, there has been suspect of a lot of invites in the August and October has when duplicate, redundant, invalid. Yeah, well, there will be definitely some sort of ratio. But if in December alone, they can throw in invites with 35,000, that is already exceeding the planning of 32,100. What does that mean? What does that mean? That means the annual intake, the number of this is definitely not enough. 100% not enough, because if we only got 195,000, I mean, they will be certainly in the coming month, there will be sector from business innovation and sector of global talent, people, they will come out and say, look, why are you taking out, I thought Australia is a country they need to be competitive for talents. I mean, business innovation, yes, they can be older, but they have a lot of resources, they have money, and they got experiences and global talent. These people are top of the pyramid. I mean, why don't we not getting these people in? So again, this are all telling me, I mean, you can digest this yourself, that the annual intake is definitely not enough. So what's going to happen in 2023? I suspect by July, there will be a lot of information, a lot of news pushing the federal government to, obviously, that will be more than 200K of annual intake. Now, that's a good thing. That's first thing. And secondly, despite a lot of state, now obviously we come through New South Wales, they have been really overhauling. Okay, they were first came out with the state criteria for finance manager with EOI points 110. That's really ridiculous, and not just me saying that. There has been a lot of migration agent seeing the same thing as well. A couple of weeks ago, overhaul, they turn around and say, look, we're going to stay with the same with Victoria. That means going back to the origin, which is basically no criteria, because they basically matching exactly what federal government is proposing. That is basically going back to point 65. Okay, now would the other state and territory follow? Yes, I think so. Definitely, there will be a lot of states to follow, especially Tasmania. If they're gonna still have that gold, green, and orange thingo, how are they gonna compete with Victoria and New South Wales? And for skilled migrant, will you still consider to go to Tasmania, or perhaps just stay in Victoria and New South Wales? And also, perhaps there will be changes coming out from Queensland, South Australia, Western Australia as well. Definitely, for sure, because ACT also had dropped their criteria down as well. So that will be the trend. That will be the total trend. And I suspect the federal government, the Department of Home Affairs, they will not gonna wait for state and territory to adjust their criteria and drop their criteria back. So I think the federal government will continue to use subclass 189 before the change over the financial year to massively throw in invites to a lot of people. So if you are interested about skill migration, you definitely need to put a 189 EOI in the system, because that is exactly what I would expect and not what I have predicted will be, because that's the only way to quickly resolve the backlog and also to get all these skilled people onto the ground and resolve the skill shortage issue in Australia. And obviously, why do they do that? Because the Australian economy demands that kind of scenario to be happening. Anyway, should you have more questions, query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below. And I see you next video. Merry Christmas. Goodbye.